got the wrong person. I'm just a manager going back home from my annual vacation in Europe. The TSA agent pulls out a massive chunk of delicious French cheese from your hand luggage. Turns out, you can only grab really small amounts of soft cheese on board, since it's considered to be liquid. Fun fact, you can bring a cheese grater on board without any problems, but you can grate no more than 3.4 ounces. That's the maximum cheese amount. Wait, you can't grate it. Cheese should be safely sealed in a plastic bag. Good news, hard cheese is fine to travel with. Okay, they took your cheese, a large bottle of water, you're bad, some cream tubes, and other fancy souvenirs. Look at that fine Swiss knife you grabbed in Geneva. It now risks ending up in an auction. If you're lucky enough, the airport might provide a shipping service to get your precious souvenirs, and even cheese, if it doesn't go bad, to your home for a fee. Still, not all the airports do this. So, some of the banned items will go to an auction to raise money. The confiscated items are usually sold in bulks, so it's going to be pretty hard to find the ones that you had to leave behind. Some other objects with more specific purposes are donated to different organizations. Pepper spray, for instance, would go to a police training academy. As for cheese, prohibited exotic fruits, and other food and water, well, they usually just get disposed of. Some items, especially really bad and dangerous ones, may be simply melted or destroyed. Magic 8 balls pose no danger, but they have to be checked in luggage. The problem is the liquid inside them. Yeah, it might be less than 3.4 ounces, but let's face it, it's hard to count the exact amount. Ask your ball if you can take it on board. It's likely to give you a "don't count on it" answer. Relieving gel insoles are a bit disturbing on board. The problem is the same. It's impossible to count the exact amount of liquid. So, no gel insoles, and no gel candles either. Perfume and nail polish are kind of forbidden too. It's not only about liquid on-board restrictions, but also about etiquette rules. Some passengers may simply be allergic to their smell. Plus, they're flammable. As for nail polish removers, opt for an acetone-free version, since acetone is a no-go for hand luggage. Anyway, you can grab a bottle of perfume, as long as it's not too large and you don't use it on board. It would be a pity to leave a whole bottle in the trash bin before boarding. Still, you can sneak in the plane with more than 3.4 ounces of your favorite cream, claiming it's some medicine that you really need. But you do need to notify the airport beforehand. A bit weird, but it works. Sometimes. In case you need to check your body temperature on board, make sure your thermometer is electronic. Mercury ones are strictly forbidden. Who's going to pick up all the mercury balls if you accidentally drop it? Bowling pins are a no-go for hand luggage. Seems like the aircrew doesn't want anyone to have fun and play bowling in the aisles during a long and boring flight. No, it's all about our safety. They just think bowling pins might hurt someone. No sports equipment is allowed, be it a fencing foil, a bat, or even darts. Darts are sharp, and no sharp objects are allowed on board. Such items should travel in check-in luggage, unless you want them to end up in an auction. If you're into handmade things, and a transatlantic flight gives you enough time to knit a scarf or a pair of socks, opt for plastic or wooden knitting needles and wrap them carefully so as not to cause any damage. Those made of metal will probably be disposed of by melting, and they don't deserve such a fate. Snow globes, as with any other object containing liquid inside, aren't allowed through security. If your snow globe is as small as a tennis ball, you may be lucky to have it allowed, but it's better to play it safe and check the snow globe in. Liquid bleach is definitely a weird object for hand luggage, even if you're traveling in a white shirt. First, it's not allowed on board because it's highly flammable. Second, a brand new white shirt doesn't seem to be the right choice for a flight. Coffee and turbulence just don't mix. Third, the bathroom on board is far too small for laundering. If you're a hairdresser on a business trip, you'll probably have to invest a bit more when booking your flight. No hair bleach is allowed on board. Scissors aren't welcome either, unless their blades are 4 inches or shorter. By the way, scissors that aren't allowed to fly are often donated to schools, which is a good alternative to disposing them. Bad news for hairdressers again. Due to a gas cartridge that's filled with butane, cordless curling irons aren't allowed on board. Good news, electric curling irons are completely fine and safe. If you're an artist, you must have already struggled with security rules. You don't want your paint to get frozen or ruined in the luggage section, so you'll surely want to bring it on board. Security may be okay with your oil paints as long as they're under 3.4 ounces, but there's no way you can grab your extremely flammable turpentine. Now, in case you don't enjoy food on a plane and failed to order a meal on board beforehand, You can take any pan or pot on board and cook it yourself. No, you can't cook, and you can't grab a cast iron pan either. They're quite heavy. That's why they're likely to be dangerous. If a TSA agent confiscates it, it won't end up being donated to a local kitchen. It'll probably be melted. If you want to have some fresh smoothies while flying with fresh fruit that are allowed on board, like an apple or a banana, bad news for you. Blenders are allowed only in case you remove the blades, so technically it's not a blender anymore. Hey, here's when you need that cheese grater. English Christmas crackers can make a wonderful atmosphere of joy and happiness during Christmas holidays, but it brings nothing but a mess on board. It makes a cracking sound when pulled, which can frighten other passengers. They are not allowed in checked bags, just like party poppers and sparklers. High heels and thick soles aren't prohibited, but they do cause some problems. If you're wearing one of these, you may be asked to take them off to have them scanned. Sure, there are some plastic shoe covers, but these airport floors are swarming with germs. Wedding dresses are a bit of a problem too. Some dresses just don't fit in the X-ray machine, so they might need to be double-checked. All the fans of camping, beware. You probably want to check in a lot of luggage required for your trip, so make sure you check in the tent pegs too. Though if you travel light with a carry-on backpack only, you'll probably need to buy some when you reach your destination. Since they're sharp objects, tent pegs are not allowed on board. It's hard to imagine anyone having a drill inside their 5-pound carry-on luggage. But anyways, these are not allowed. So if you're a creative person who wants to bring a drill home as a vacation souvenir because magnets are lame, you'll have to check it in. If you want to sneak in a plane with a dry ice DIY fridge, you're almost sure to fail. It's flammable, so safety regulations definitely prohibit it on board. You can bring up to 5.5 pounds of dry ice, but airline permission is required. Anything with an uncovered blade is not allowed through security. Instead, a disposable razor or cartridge blades can be taken on board. Box cutters and knives, with a teeny tiny exception of a smooth butter knife, should be in checked luggage. Soap bars are allowed on board, but don't panic if a TSA agent wants to double-check your bag after scanning it. It just may look a bit odd on the screen and mislead them. Liquid soap, instead, follows the universal liquid rule. Rules for batteries may vary. Spillable batteries are allowed neither in carry-on nor in checked luggage. And lithium batteries also can't be carried on board, only because if damaged, they can cause a fire. Okay, you travel with your Mr. Scratchy, and yes, a laser pointer is your furry friend's favorite toy. But you gotta make do without it this time, buddy. Laser pointers are not allowed in carry-on nor in checked luggage. A walking stick can be used as a mobility device and then let on board, but surprisingly, TSA may prohibit this item sometimes. Play it safe and notify your airline in advance. Bon voyage!
Let's face it, airports can be pretty annoying, but the most annoying thing about them is probably having to take the laptop out of your backpack and put it in a separate bin while going through the security check. But, of course, they wouldn't make us do those extra moves if there wasn't a good reason for it. Laptops are dense, and X-rays can't penetrate them, so it's easy to hide something dangerous there. If the device is out and on its own in a separate bin, it's easier for the scanners to capture something dangerous. Most airplanes are white. Is there a benefit to choosing this exact color? No, white paint doesn't make a place feel lighter. Neither does it save money on painting. Here are the actual reasons for the choice: safety, efficiency, and comfort. The first airplanes had a metallic color, but the problem with metal is that it's prone to corrosion, so painting it is a great way to protect an airplane from corrosion. White is favored for several reasons. First, planes fly high above the clouds and are exposed to sunlight a lot. White is the color that absorbs the least heat, and white planes get heated less. Also, sunlight makes the paint fade away. A colorful airplane will have its paint fade very fast and will require repainting. And repainting is costly, so painting aircraft white is a more lasting choice. Also, any damage is more easily noticed on a white surface. So that's one more point for the white color. We always board from the left side of the plane, every single time, no exceptions. For some reason, the right side just doesn't seem to be an option. Yes, that's done on purpose. First, the captain usually sits on the left. This way, it's easier for the pilot to align the plane with the terminal jet bridge. Also, Aircraft are fueled and loaded with baggage on the right side. Since people board the plane from the left, the crew can do their job undisturbed, and there's no danger to passengers. Consistency with the choice of a side helps to make everything work more effectively. Since everyone always enters from the left, all jet bridges are designed to get attached to the left side of the airplane. If every airplane had the freedom to choose the side, it would create an additional mess for the logistics behind the process. There are more questions popping up, like what does this black triangle drawn above one of the windows mean? Apparently, it marks the seat from which the view of the airplane's wing is the best. It's needed for the crew to find the spot as fast as possible if, in case of an emergency, they need to inspect the engines, slats, or flaps. This mark saves a lot of time. Next, the rows aren't well aligned with the windows. This is business. Originally, all planes are designed with rows and windows lining up perfectly. But when an airline buys a jet, they add some additional seats, squeezing them closer together. This way, they have more seats, which means more passengers, so they can sell more tickets. But you get less space for your legs and might miss out on a window. Also, all windows have rounded corners, and this is done for safety reasons. There used to be planes with squared windows, but those caused crashes because such windows couldn't withstand high-altitude pressures. At high altitudes, external atmospheric pressure is lower than the pressure inside the cabin. So, there's a big difference in pressure inside and outside the airplane, and this creates stress. Without windows, this stress flows smoothly through the material. A squared window becomes an obstacle, and the flow of stress needs to change direction. The pressure builds up in the corners, leading to cracks. As a result, such windows break. Oval windows allow the stress to flow more smoothly without disrupting them too much and preventing stress concentration. So, oval windows are safer. The glass used in production is stretched acrylic glass, and there are 3 separate panes of it. This is done as a security measure in case there is a breach. This way, at least one pane will remain intact at all times. Have you ever noticed those small holes in the windows? The tiny hole is actually only in the pane that's in the middle. Its task is to regulate the huge pressure difference inside and outside the cabin. This way, the outer pane can handle the load. If the outer pane breaks, the middle one, even though there's a hole in it, will be able to keep the window intact. Also, that hole prevents the windows from fogging up. Now, let's say you want to relax and watch a movie. Luckily, there's a pair of headphones. But they're weird. They have a 2-pronged plug. No, this is not some kind of advanced technology. This is a witty move to prevent theft. If you can't use them anywhere else but on the airplane, no one will have the urge to snatch them away. Outside the airplane, they're basically useless. And then they bring food. There are people who love airplane food and people who aren't very fond of it. But most will agree that food does taste different in the air. Turns out, it's actually a thing. Low air pressure, lack of humidity, and background noise that we have at high altitudes change the functioning of our taste buds. They become less sensitive to sweet and salty foods, so airlines have to use more seasoning. Have you ever wondered what would happen if someone opened an airplane door accidentally? This wouldn't end well. It would be very dangerous to say the least. More specifically, soon there would be a lack of oxygen in the cabin. But gladly, no one can open that door accidentally. The pressure difference between inside and outside makes it almost impossible. It would take some immense strength to open it. The doors are designed to open on their own in case of an emergency. Speaking of safety, during takeoff and landing, the crew dims the light in the cabin. This is done for a good reason. This way, in case of emergency, you will see everything more clearly. Your eyes will get used to the darkness, and you'll have an easier time evacuating. Now, about pilots. They always wear those cool sunglasses, but the purpose is not to look cooler. They're used to protect the eyes. Throughout their career, pilots have to take care of their vision, but the problem is that it's not an easy task when you're a pilot. The damaging solar radiation that our sun emits is filtered out by the Earth's atmosphere, so the sunlight isn't very damaging to you if you spend most of your time on the ground. But it's different up in the sky. There's less air there, and the brightness is way higher. And with every 1,000 feet of elevation, the solar radiation is around 5% stronger. On average, aircraft fly at an altitude of 35,000 feet. This means that the amount of UV radiation is 175% greater than on the ground. This is very damaging to any person's vision. The large amount of time pilots spend in the air makes them vulnerable to different eye problems. And having eye problems can cost a pilot their career. So, wearing sunglasses is a crucial thing for them, and these sunglasses must be of the best quality. They should minimize the impact of sunlight and withstand UV rays, providing 100% protection for the eyes. Also, they can't be polarized, since polarization can mess with the perception of the cockpit displays. They should provide the best clarity, decrease eye fatigue, and minimize color deformation, so that pilots can see just like they would without their sunglasses on.
Uh-oh, your airliner is filling up with people, so you hurry, looking for your comfy window seat and hoping to meet some pleasant neighbors, because a 6-hour-long flight to Hawaii with the ability to place your arms and legs as you want is an excellent start to your vacation. You relax into your window seat, already thinking of sunbathing on the beach once you reach your destination. You greet your first neighbor, who takes the aisle seat. You see the flight attendants are about to close the doors. You breathe out and stretch your legs. No more neighbors. Suddenly, the last passenger runs up to your row. It's as if he appeared out of nowhere. He tells you that you have taken his seat. You can't believe it. The flight attendant comes and asks you to vacate his seat. But why? You reserved online the window seat. You have no time to argue as the plane is taking off. So, you move to the middle seat. The guy puts his elbows on the armrests. Your aisle seat neighbor has already occupied the other armrest and put on his earphones. Huh? Seems like you are left without any space for your elbows. Let the silent telepathic fight for the armrests begin. You already know all kinds of middle seat neighbors as you fly frequently. Which one are you? The passenger who occupies both armrests is what we call universal, because he thinks he is the center of the universe, and the window and aisle seat passengers have to stay in their respective corners. He might narrow down the communication to elbow fights. Here, we recommend marking your armrest territory with words, no matter how awkward it might seem. But this doesn't sound like you. The switching passenger is the one who sometimes uses the left-hand armrest and then switches to the right. It's usually peaceful coexistence. Here, the communication remains friendly, with you exchanging smiles as you touch each other by accident. That's already closer to you, but not completely. There's also that shy passenger that uses neither the right nor the left side of the seat. He usually sits straight and awaits his arrival at the destination. He is afraid of any elbow contact with his neighbors, but he doesn't look like you either. The cooperative passenger constantly uses the front half of the armrest and shares the other part with a neighbor. So you know there's a spot for your elbow and your neighbors know theirs, and zero unnecessary contact is guaranteed. Aha! It sounds like you. Now, you place your elbows on both armrests by moving the arms of your neighbors, smiling and indicating that they need to share the joint space. Now, we will reveal the secret about how you got the middle seat. Your airline had to change the plane at the last minute, and an entirely different seating plan put you into the middle seat. It turns out the flight editor could not keep your window seat anymore, as re-editing the seating plan within a short time is tough. Transporting everybody on board the new aircraft is like working on a puzzle. Another secret when they can assign a middle seat to you is if you get to the airport at the very last moment. If you've made no seat reservation and haven't checked in online, you're more likely to get a middle seat in the row next to the restroom. Or you'll be seated behind the wing and rewarded with extra noise from the engines. But you also have excellent chances to get a surprising upgrade or some extra space seated in the exit row or bulkhead seats. Algorithms drive our world these days, as you know. The secret here is that you need to use the same airline frequently. Then you will accumulate as many flight segments or miles as possible to become a status club member with pleasant privileges. And you will then be called the Gold One. Now, whenever you buy a ticket, your frequent flyer number will activate an algorithm in the reservation system. You'll be able to reserve an extra space seat online and get access to airport lounges. And even when the flight is not fully booked, the computer system will automatically block the middle seat next to yours. And you can enjoy spreading your arms and having no contact with a stranger during the whole flight. It can also come in handy to know how to get an upgrade at the last moment. Airlines regularly oversell seats on flights to maximize revenue and increase load factors. That's why they constantly analyze the number of no-show passengers for a certain time and date using a special software. It costs only $50 to $100 to an airline to upgrade an economy passenger to an empty seat in business or first class. That's why free airline upgrades can often happen. But for you, it's essential, especially if you're on a long flight. You will get your premium experience according to your priority status. It means that if you're on the gold list, you'll be of the highest priority ranking. Then the computer program will show the gate agent that your economy seat is no longer valid. The gate agent will change your seat number from 6A to 1A, and it means you can look forward to getting top service. And you will be the lucky one who gets a fancy drink, filet mignon, and a cozy seat on the more luxurious side of the cabin divider. Now, here's another secret. If you fly solo, you will have upgrades more often given to you rather than groups. If you order a special meal in advance, you will not get a free upgrade, as your meal cannot be upgraded with you. An airline controls the meal numbers and will not serve a special economy meal in business class. But you may as well get the upgrade if you are not a member of the Gold Club. Here's another algorithm that can help you get upgraded already at the check-in. A long-haul aircraft has, let's say, a total of 354 seats. We have 8 first-class seats, 42 business-class seats, and 304 economy-class seats. Now, let's assume there are 4 first-class passengers, 20 business-class passengers, and 330 economy-class passengers. The economy class is oversold by 26 people. Now, who will be the lucky 26 passengers to sit in the front, and when will it be decided? The airline supervisor instructs check-in agents to take notes of the arriving passengers, and they will silently put some of them into the SFU list. It means suitable for an upgrade. You will not notice your probable upgrade at that moment. At first, the check-in person will give you a standard economy class boarding pass with a seat number printed on it. It all begins 1 hour before the departure at the gate. That's when the check-in counter closes, and now the staff knows the final figures. Let's assume all 354 passengers appear on time. The last 26 economy passengers get their boarding passes without seat numbers, and the supervisor finalizes the passenger list. The first lucky 4 business class passengers with an upgrade can move to the first class, and 22 people from the economy class get upgraded to the business class. Now there's enough space in the economy class. New boarding passes get printed, and the gate supervisor announces the names of those who got lucky. That's why it's good to board late, because upgrades are still being processed up to the very last minute. By the way, check-in agents not only take your bag and give your boarding pass, they're also responsible for your admission to your destination on international flights. While talking to you at the counter, the agent gets a computer answer, an OK or a N-OK to board. Thanks to the pre-checks at the departure airport, the international arrivals border control goes much faster as some work was already done at the departure point. And you usually appreciate it because, this way, you can leave the airport quickly after a several-hour flight. The check-in agent also ensures that passengers do not carry excess hand baggage. While boarding the plane, you're welcomed by a friendly smile and hello from 1 or 2 flight attendants. You might not know it, but at this moment, the chief cabin attendant is secretly checking you whether you are fit to fly or not. They pay particular attention to possibly aggressive passengers, those that might get removed before the flight. While you're taking your seat on board the plane, flight attendants are spread throughout the cabin. They welcome you and check that you don't stow any hand luggage at the exit or bulkhead row. During the meal service, flight attendants control what you drink and ensure you do not exceed a certain amount. Be careful, flight attendants are watching you, but only to keep you safe. Well, here's quite a list for you. Yellow fever, malaria, Zika. These are just a few of the nasties you might pick up if you fly in shorts. Sure, the cabin might look clean, but check it out under a microscope and you'll see a different story. Take seatback trays. They're gross, with over 2,100 colony-forming units per square inch. Who knows how clean the actual seats are? Airlines aren't exactly shouting about how often they deep clean, probably not more than every 1 to 3 months. Now, if you think planes get a good scrub down before every flight, think again. Every minute of delay costs an airline about $100, so there's not much time for a thorough cleaning. The crew does what they can, but wearing shorts is still a bad idea. You'll expose your skin to all that grime, and let's face it, you won't jump in the shower the second you get off the plane. So do yourself a favor and wear clothes that cover your skin. Plus, sometimes it gets excessively cold on a plane, so shorts will make you ask for a blanket on a plane. Now, listen closely, you don't want to do that. Those pillows and blankets are reused constantly and not always cleaned thoroughly. Let's just say short turnaround times between flights make proper washing unlikely. But even if they are, airlines use industrial detergents to wash pillows and blankets. You see what I'm driving at? Either make sure to wear proper clothing or bring your own blanket. If there's something you should totally wear on a plane, it's slippers. Yep, the ones you snagged from the hotel the last time you traveled. They're a lifesaver when you want to ditch your uncomfortable shoes but don't want to flash your socks, no matter how cute. Slippers are easy to slide on and off, making them perfect for those mid-flight bathroom trips. At the end of the flight, you can toss the slippers away. No muss, no fuss. During takeoff and landing, the air pressure changes super quickly, which can lead to ear discomfort and muffled hearing, something called barytitis. Simple things like yawning, chewing, or swallowing can help your ears adjust to the pressure. But if you're asleep, you're not doing any of that, so your ears will struggle. Plus, takeoff and landing are when most accidents happen, so it's crucial to stay alert and be ready for anything. And your ears will thank you. Now, not every life hack you see online is worth trying. Take this one that went viral on TikTok. Millions of viewers watch passengers pulling their knees up to their chests, feet at the edge of their seats, with a seatbelt fastened around their feet. But you shouldn't do that. First off, it's against the rules. Official guidelines say seatbelts should be worn properly across your lap. Next, in this position, a sudden impact could force your face or chin into your knees. Plus, a properly worn seatbelt helps you keep restrained during sudden altitude drops, preventing you from being thrust upwards. Finally, if you injure yourself or others by sitting this way, you could be held liable for any costs incurred, like if the plane has to make an emergency diversion. Well, you know the drill. Tray tables up, seat backs upright. But why is this so important? It's not just an airline preference, it's the law, according to the U.S. Code of Federal Regulations. The thing is, upright seats provide more structural support during impact. A reclined seat can act like a catapult during a sudden stop, projecting you forward or slam you backward in case of sudden acceleration. Takeoff, approach, and landing are the riskiest phases. About 67% of fatal accidents happen during these times. Cruising is the safest phase, so feel free to recline once you're at altitude. Now, in case of an emergency on a plane, you'll only have around 90 seconds to evacuate. Dimming the cabin lights during takeoff and landing when it's dark outside is all about safety. This helps your eyes adjust to the darkness, making it easier to evacuate if needed. It can take up to 30 minutes for our eyes to fully adapt to low light, and having sharp vision can be a lifesaver in an emergency. Plus, with your eyes adjusted, you'll see the floor lights guiding you to the exits more clearly. On the flip side, if it's bright outside, The cabin lights stay on so that you're not blinded upon exit. These small details make a big difference in creating the best conditions for a quick evacuation. You'll also notice flight attendants asking passengers to close tray tables, stow bags, and put seats upright. This clears the pathways to the exits, and they might ask you to open your window shade so they can spot any external hazards like fire or debris that could hinder an emergency evacuation. Well, it's time to have lunch. Well, sadly on a plane it won't be as yummy as back on Earth. But why does food taste a bit off when you're flying? Let's first figure out how we perceive the taste of food. It's not only about your mouth, it's also about your nose. The dry air and pressure changes in the cabin can reduce your taste bud sensitivity by about 30%, making food taste different in the ear than it does on the ground. As for your nose, well, let's just say it has a hard time distinguishing flavors when the air humidity is only 12%. In total, there are 5 basic tastes: saltiness, sweetness, bitterness, sourness, and that savory flavor often called umami, which is Japanese for delicious taste. The 2 tastes that get especially weak when flying are saltiness and sweetness, which is why airlines often over-season their meals. To make airplane food, if not yummy but at least edible, cooks must add up to 20% more salt. By the way, it's not just about the altitude or pressure. That loud background noise can also make food taste less salty and sweet. While traveling, relax and breathe, my friend. Despite what you might think, aircraft air quality is actually better than in many other communal spaces. About 40% of the air is filtered through a HEPA system, and the rest comes from outside. This means the air is completely changed every 3 minutes, catching 99.97% of airborne particles. Sounds very safe, right? Well, almost. Look at those overhead air vents. As for colony-forming units, there are 285. Just 285. For comparison, an average keyboard has over 3.5 million CFUs per square inch. So those nozzles are relatively clean. Still, you never know when they were last wiped down, so keep hand sanitizer nearby just in case. In any event, the overhead air vent can help keep germs away, so it's good to have some fresh air blowing in the stuffy cabin. Now, while your plane is taking off and landing, it's a must to stay seated. But actually, staying glued to your seat for the duration of the entire flight is more of a bad idea. You see, we all need our blood to circulate nicely around the body. Sure thing, you aren't supposed to walk to and fro, but standing up for some time is a good idea, especially if you have an aisle seat and there's no one to block your way. If you're blocked in the middle or window seat, just make sure to stretch your legs. We've chatted about this before. To protect your ears, it's best not to sleep at certain times on a plane. But here's another tip to keep your eyes happy too. Whenever you're flying, go for glasses instead of contact lenses. The dry air on airplanes can be super harsh on your eyes. If it's your first time flying, you might not realize how bad it can feel, and taking out your contact lenses mid-flight can be a real problem.
Who doesn't want to cut down on flight tickets when they're planning a trip? Here are some useful tips on how to get the best deals. Some cities like London and New York have more than one airport, so consider flying through alternate airports. Some of these airports are too far away from the city center. That's why tickets will be cheaper on the flights that land there. I tried this one myself. Well, I landed at a place that looked like a cargo airport, but hey, there was a bus from there to the city center. Pros, the ticket was cheap. Cons, I spent an extra hour on the road to get to the center. What's the prime day to book a ticket? That's a heated debate. Apparently, Tuesdays are better for booking a flight. More specifically, ticket fees at around 1:30 p.m. can be the cheapest. So, if you have plans to buy tickets for your dream vacation, go for a hunt on this specific day and time. There are great websites where you can compare flights and catch the cheapest ones, and I'll get to them soon. But don't ignore the official airline websites. Many of them announce private sales for those loyal customers who directly visit their pages. If your agenda allows you to play with your departure time, do that. Traveling on an early hour flight generally equals paying less for tickets. To catch a 6 a.m. flight, you have to get up when most of the people in the city are still enjoying their comfy beds. In the early hours, you might have problems with how to get to the airport. Not all public transport works 24 hours. Another problem would be your cat accidentally turning off your alarm. This is why these flights generally come cheaper. The same principle applies to late-night flights too. People generally don't want to fly after midnight, so prices drop accordingly. Look at the bright side. You have more time to wander around once you get to your destination. Flying with a connection is another way. It's a fairly cheap option, especially on longer haul flights. This method has a downside. Your plans can be changed with one word: delay. You might have to say goodbye to your connecting flight. Another thing you can do with connecting flights is to search for flights from the same country. Tourist destinations, megacities, and capitals are generally more expensive. Travel to a smaller city and then depart to your destination. Many of us love cookies, but probably not the ones in our browsers. Staying incognito in the flight searching process will help you get cheaper flights. How? Ticket prices depend on demand, so companies use the data on how many people search for which tickets. Let's say you look for tickets to London and regularly check the airline website to get a good deal. Your data signals that you have shown an interest in particular dates and a location. That's how you see that same flight suddenly gets more expensive. The airline knows that you're likely going to buy it. This can happen even if you refresh your browser. Either stay unidentified or clear your cookies to take yourself out of this situation. Remember I recommended that you visit the airline websites directly? You can also sign up for alerts on price drops. If you think notifications are annoying, even though they are useful, you can follow airlines on socials. Many companies use their social media accounts effectively, and they sometimes give customers some last-minute deals. In some cases, it's convenient to book tickets over the phone. For example, if you're in a group. Be aware, though, that some airlines add extra fees for completing a booking via a call. It can be as much as $50. You could get a day trip on your vacation with that money instead of spending it on words. If you must complete a booking by call, simply ask the person if they're going to charge you some additional fees for calling. While searching for a ticket, you can pretend you're in a different location. The best option is to change your location to the country you'll visit or the airline's home country. Let's say you'll go to Japan. Booking from the airline's website and changing your location via VPN would be the key to seeing lower prices. I said that I'd get to the flight comparison sites topic, and here I am. These websites are gems for giving you the best fares from several airlines and options. They recommend alternative routes that you haven't considered. Yet again, before clicking the confirm button, take a few seconds to check the airline's website. Booking directly and cutting out the middleman's fee can be a wiser option. The other potential benefit is reliable customer service. With some airlines, booking via a third party will turn this process into a tangled headphone cable like there's no tomorrow. I'll share a strategy for getting an entire row for yourselves. Imagine you're traveling with your BFF. One of you should book the window seat and the other one book the aisle seat. Other passengers will likely go for other seats and avoid the middle seat. This method cannot always work though. If the plane is fully occupied, there'll be some unlucky person in between you. If someone books that middle seat, you can always offer them the aisle or window seat and continue to sit with your BFF. The second option is booking seats in the 13th row. Well, 13 doesn't have a good reputation as it is superstitiously considered unlucky. Chances are, no one else books a seat from this particular number. This one is a gift to you for all your efforts to get the best possible deal. Good job you're in the airport. You're watching your favorite show while waiting for the gate to open. Boom! An hour of free airport Wi-Fi is over. Here's a loophole to double it. Roll back the time on your device. When you change the time zone back an hour, the system won't understand it and it'll allow you to use it for another hour. My 14th point is about safety. Did you know that you shouldn't swap seats before the plane takes off without letting the flight attendant know? This rule applies to changing your seat with a person from a different row, not to the person next to you. This can cause the plane to make an emergency landing. The reason is related to weight and how it's distributed. every plane has a takeoff weight limit. This number comprises things like fuel, luggage, and passengers. Flight attendants look out for the potential weight distribution. A pilot explains it like this: if you move some seats without asking them, you might cause an imbalance on the plane. If you ask the flight attendants if you want to change seats, they'll let you do it after takeoff. I mean, people get up and move in the plane all the time, so this isn't like you can't change your position at all, but it can be dangerous to do so without confirmation. Here's a fun fact: the black box, as its nickname, is not black, it's bright orange. Flight Data Recorder is its official name, and it's orange so that in case of an accident, the rescue team can spot it easily. Where do you think is the dirtiest place on the aircraft? Not toilets, not seat holders, it's table trays. There are more. The cozy blankets you ask for from the flight attendants aren't so clean either. According to a report, some airlines wash their blankets only once a month. Now that you know the tricks, you can plan your trip at a perfect price and maybe bring your own blanket to the plane. Sit back and enjoy the flight. Good things come to those who wait.